Good morning, everyone. This is the Kriya for adrenals and kidneys. If you're keeping track, this is week 35 since the COVID shutdown, day 246, Melanie. And I know many of you have really stayed with this challenge, and I don't know if you're keeping track. I keep track of attendance every day. Good morning, Susan. So I suppose it would be a laborious effort, but I could go through and track how many classes you've done. But I urge you just to keep track on your own. It might be very interesting. You'll have some record of COVID. During COVID, I did X amount of yoga classes. So let's sit up tall. Immediately connecting to your breath. Our constant companion. And since COVID is all about the breath, meaning it's a disease that really attacks the lungs, there's more and more focus placed on the power of breath, pranayama. It's being studied deeply at a scientific level, how our breath work impacts our well-being, how it impacts our physical health. I've read so many sources. It was either James Nestor or Professor Huberman from the Stanford Neurobiology Center that said we use about 10%. A typical adult uses about only 10% of their diaphragm capacity. So just imagine if we can increase that to 20, 30, 40, 50%. You're increasing well-being, you're oxygenating your blood, moving the chi, the life force, the prana throughout the body, easing the cardiovascular system, helping everything work more efficiently. So we review the 5 elements of mindfulness. I actually got these 5 elements from a meditation class I took at UCSF, San Francisco. The acronym is BEST, B-E-S-S-T, breath, emotion, sensations of the body, sounds, and thoughts. So as we're mindful, we're first most conscious of our breath. We're conscious of our emotional state, a major part of being human. We're conscious of this physical body and the sensations you may be feeling in this moment, a tightness, a restriction, or it may be you feel complete ease. And of course, there are sounds in your space. Invite them into your practice rather than resisting the sounds. And finally, the ever-present thoughts. The mind's job is to think, so it's always thinking. So in this 75 minutes, you can just observe the thoughts, witness your thoughts. Do you have a repeated thought? Is it a new thought? Is it your own thought or something you read on social media or something ruminating from a show you watched or a book you've read? And what is the nature of the thought? Is it fearful? Is it judging? Self-judging or judging of others? We can replace any thought with a new thought. So I'll mute everyone now. We will move into our Adi mantra, the Ong Namo Guru Dev Namo. We chant it 3 times, once for ourselves, that I'm honoring that divine spark inside of me, once for everybody in the virtual space. And if you're listening to the recording later, you are included in future time. And the 3rd time we chant it for the greater world. So bring your hands to prayer position. 3 big inhale, exhales. Inhale, Adi mantra. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Open the eyes, come onto all fours. We'll start with a few cat-cows. You know the cat-cow, the hands spread wide like a starfish, right under the wrists, right under the elbows, right under the shoulders, the knees right under the hips. So you're in really good alignment. That belly tries to drop like the cow in the field. The chin comes forward as much as you can, creating that lordosis in the neck. Exhaling, my chin comes to my sternum. I try to look between my legs. I push down in my hands, lengthening my arms, and that helps me move the thoracic spine into the full cat. Marrying the breath to the movement. So every time you're breathing, inhaling or exhaling, you're moving. Your cat-cows are looking really mindful. One of the best asanas in all of yoga for the spine. You're warming up the spine and you can feel the 3 sections of the spine. When you go into that cow, you create that lordosis in the lower lumbar spine. And then when we move into the cat pose, we accentuate that kyphosis of the thoracic spine. When you're back into cow, you feel the cervical lordosis mimicking the lower lumbar spine, right? Okay, come back to center. We're going to do 2 warm-up exercises from the anatomy course Melanie and I are taking, and Janet and Susan Calandra. So let the big toes touch, the knees come wide on the mat. And so before you take your pelvis back, my hands are right under my shoulders. Try to create a cat pose, try to round the spine. Try to make the cow pose, dropping the belly. So you're kind of just hanging here. And then scoot back the pelvis, bring it all the way to the heels. Now I'm looking at my hands in front of me. I'll make the mic stand a little lower here. So I see my hands. Then imagine that they're down dog hands. So they're spread wide, and then you've got them out as far as you can. Then take the forearms to the mat. So it's like you're in Sphinx pose. Then I take my arms and hands as far forward as I can, and I try to take my forehead to the mat. Wonderful stretch. Keep trying to stretch the forearms forward. I'm inching them forward on my mat. You really feel the shoulders release. We're studying the shoulders this week. And it's so interesting how the shoulder is really similar in a lot of ways to the hip and pelvis. But the pelvis is built for stability. The shoulders are built for mobility. So example here, your arms are fully extended. The shoulders allow you to do this. Now this is very subtle, but just try to shift the pelvis left, shift it right. It only moves like maybe half an inch. Harvey Deutsch says you're squirting synovial fluid into the hip joint every time you do this subtle little shift left to right. Now draw the knees so they're in alignment with the hips and the feet. The feet come back into all four stance. So come into a cat-cow. So I'm moving into my cat-cow here. And then I'm going to draw my arms, my hands forward. So I'm actually coming into a high cobra. So my knees are on the mat and I'm in high cobra. Yeah, you take the knees back as far as you can. Melanie, if you've got it on gallery view, there's a great view of her to the side. That's a perfect high cobra. Now, if there's any discomfort in the lower lumbar spine, ease off of it. Just slide the pelvis back. Inhale, try to look to the left. Just gently soften into the turn. Don't need to be aggressive here. Exhale, inhale, look to the right, soften into it. I try to keep my shoulders down rather than letting the shoulders come up around my ears. Now, draw the hands so they're right under the shoulders. I had the hands forward, so you were hanging. You're still hanging. So experience that pelvis. It's just hanging there. Now for Chaturanga Dandasana is a big part of sun salutations. When we go down into the low cobra, see how my elbows are staying tight to my side body, like a chicken wing? Keep them really close to the side body. And then the genitals and pelvis come down first, and then the eyes of the hip bones, those two bikini bones, then bring the forehead to the mat. I'm in my low cobra. My palms are right under my shoulders. That's your low cobra. In true cobra, you would have your feet together, big toes touch, the tail of the snake. But today, let's just keep the feet apart because we're going back and forth. Inhale and come up to your high cobra. If it's okay, on your lower lumbar spine. Keep the elbows right behind the wrists. See, we don't want the elbows splaying out like that. We want them tight, close to the side body. They're almost locked out, but really avoid this kind of motion. It's too hard on the elbow joint. So you want the elbow right behind the wrist. Feel that pelvis just hanging there. Feel the lower lumbar spine. It's in this maximum lordosis. Then keep the elbows tight to the side body. Slowly come down. Gluteus maximus is strong. My quads first touching, then genitals, then the rest of the pelvis, stomach. My forehead comes to the mat. And I'm getting my forearm all the way down on the mat. That might be possible for you. Palms spread wide. Looks good. You're in your low cobra. Let's do it one more time. Inhale, coming back up. You're in your high cobra. The elbows are tight to the side body. I'm letting the pelvis just hang. A really great way to feel this pelvis in suspension. Also the shoulder. It's made of 3 parts: the clavicle, the collarbone, the top, the anterior top of the humerus bone, that big bone in the upper arm, and then it attaches to the scapula, the shoulder blades. It's kind of all one piece. And that scapula is similar to the big bowl part of your pelvis. They're similar shapes. Okay. Slowly come down again. Keep the elbows tight to the side body. I'm feeling this in my forearms. And take the forehead to the mat. Take the arms to the side, palms to the ceiling, left cheek to the mat. Just rest for a moment. Give your cheek a little, that left side of your neck gets just a nice stretch. And then turn to the other side. So you're stretching the opposite side. And then push yourself up to a seated pose in a Sukhasana, easy pose. I'm glad you're here this morning, Susan Alexander. I think this is a really good pose for your neck. It's called the seated C-spine. It's one of Harvey Deutsch's. And I'll see if I can send the video to all of you. I don't know if I'm able to forward the video, but we sit in easy pose. The fingertips are on each side of the mat. So I'm going to push down with my right fingertips, and I'm going to let my ear, I like this cue, soften to my left shoulder. I'm not just pushing it down, I'm letting it soften while I push into the right fingertips. So the right side of my neck is opening up. You soften to it. No pushing, no forcing, trying to keep the shoulders down so they don't lift. All that fascia in the neck is releasing. The cervical spine allows you to bend to each side. It allows flexion. Obviously, you can take the chin all the way to the sternum. And it allows some extension with the head going back. Although Harvey Deutsch really cautions us about taking the head too far back. There's too many cervical nerves in a very tight space going up through the neck. And as we age, he doesn't think we should be taking our head back all the way. So things are releasing. Now see if you can try to bend a little bit more, taking the right ear up to the ceiling. Can you get a little more bend there with the right ear coming up? Coming back to center. Now you're going to push in your left fingertips, and I'm softening to the right. Where do you feel the resistance? I'm feeling it in a number of places. My right shoulder, my neck. I like the cue soften into it rather than pushing. No gripping with the pelvis, not necessary to engage the lower chakras or engage the gluteus maximus, the big butt muscle, or the hips. Just let them be relaxed. That'll help your top half of your body be more relaxed. So I'm pushing into those left fingertips and I'm trying to soften to the other side, to the right side now. Now maybe I can try to envision the ear coming, looking up at the ceiling a little more. It helps me get a little more bend. You're all looking good. I'm just observing now. Okay, now bring the chin back up, bring the neck back up to center. The chin, see my chin, I'm going to call this the horizon. So now I'm going to try to just take my chin, keeping it on the horizon, going right, bringing it around on the horizon, going left. Very conscious of your cervical spine, how it allows you to bend side to side, what we just did, and it also allows twisting. Now come back to center. Take the chin into the jugular notch. There's a little notch right there, a little hole between the two clavicles, the two collarbones. You try to take your chin all the way there, your maximum extension. So the cervical spine allows you to extend. This is full extension if it doesn't hurt you. Now we've done this before. I try to trace my collarbone, my clavicle with my chin, coming up to center, turning to the other side, taking the chin down to the right clavicle, the right collarbone. I'm trying to trace it, coming back to the center, coming all the way around to the left now, coming up. This is where Harvey Deutsch recommends, as you're brushing the collarbones with your chin, when you get to the far outside, the lateral side, maybe you try to look up to the ceiling. This is where he wants caution. You can look up to the ceiling, maybe 11 o'clock, but what we don't want is full extension back. It puts, as we're aging, it's putting a lot of stress in a very small space. When you're 25 years old, it probably doesn't matter, but we're not 25. We might feel 25. Keep doing these circles. Such a great exercise for the cervical spine. As you're practicing full extension as the chin comes forward, full flexion, I mean, some extension as the neck goes back and learning to be cautious of that. And you're twisting. Okay, let's come back to center. I think the cervical spine's fully warmed up. Let's begin the Kriya for adrenals, stress set for adrenals and kidneys. This is a pretty fast set. We'll do it in probably 30 minutes. And then we will have time.
We only did one side of the neck.
Oh, did we? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I forgot. I was going all the way around and then I forgot to cue you. Yes. So just do the opposite side of, just make full 360s now. I'm sorry, I left out that cue. So just make full 360s, tracing the collarbone, taking the chin down to that jugular notch between the collarbones, trying to trace the chin along the collarbones. and then reverse the direction. So you're doing both sides. I like to inhale as my head is coming back, where I can kind of scan the ceiling. And then I exhale as my chin brushes along the clavicles. Okay, we'll begin the Kriya. So you'll be in easy pose. The arms come out. I feel like the 767, you know, where the wings come up on the side, they fan in this dorsiflexion. So that's my full extension. The mudra is lotus mudra, pinky, thumbs together. These three fingers make a little bowl. So I've got that bowl right at my heart level. So my inhale, I'm pushing out. My exhale, I'm coming in. We'll do this for 3 minutes. Close your eyes, make it mindful, make it meditative. My spine is long, periscoped up, it's tall. Conscious of my alignment, lumbar, thoracic, cervical. When I lift my heart, it helps put the head in the right position for spinal health in the cervical spine. Deep inhales, use more than 10% of your diaphragm, maybe get up to 50%. Big inhales, big exhales, all through the nose. Sukham with the lower triangle, relaxed in the lower chakras, pelvis relaxed, no need to grip. All the movement is in the shoulders and the arms, the hands and the wrists. Big, deep inhales, oxygenating your blood, moving the chi, moving the life force. If you get off on your breath, just get back on, inhaling as you extend, exhaling as you come back. 1 more minute. Nice dorsiflexion in the palms, meaning you're stretching those 2 wrist bones closer together. It's like I'm pushing the wall away on each side. Inhale, extend, stay in dorsiflexion. Big inhale, let's suspend the breath, light squeeze of the bandhas, Mula Bandh at the anus coccyx. Pull the navel towards the spine, Uddiyana Bandha. Dip the chin, Jalandhara Bandha, and release. Rest for a moment, just observe. Next mudra, I interlace my pinkies. My fingers come into the palms and it's like I'm hitchhiking with my thumbs. They're at the heart center. Now I'm going to lower them in front of the solar plexus. So third chakra. I'm going to open my mouth and I'll do breath of fire through an O-shaped mouth. So it's very unusual. We always do breath of fire, Kapalabhati breathing through the nose. So this is unusual. It's almost like the way a dog breathes through their open mouth with their tongue out, but our tongue is in. We try to keep the cheeks stable, faces stable. Begin 2 minutes, breath of fire. You're pulling apart, pulling on the pinkies so the arms are really engaged. Let's begin. The belly really has to get into this because every time you're exhaling, the belly's drawing in towards the spine. You're really exhaling all the stale air from your lungs, taking in new prana. One more minute to go. You might have to moisten your lips. Your mouth will get dry because of all the mouth breathing. You're really working your diaphragm. Very unusual feeling, isn't it? Keep pulling on the pinkies. Big inhale. Hold the breath. Squeeze the bandhas. Pull the pinkies apart. So the shoulders engaged, arms engaged. Bandhas are squeezing lightly. Chin is dipped. Going for a 20-second hold. And release. Take the hands closed down on the knees, a closed circuit. Observe. About 30 minutes into the practice. You feeling any energy shifts, any mental shifts? Okay, we're working on the adrenals now. The back of my left hand just rests right on my lower lumbar spine where the kidneys and adrenals are. This right hand comes forward, dorsiflexion, really stretching that forearm, which we know is a meridian point for elimination. So here's your mudra. For 2 minutes, we'll chant Har, H-A-R. The R is trilled, rolled like a Spanish R. Begin. Har, 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 har. Every time you say har, that belly sucking in, then expanding out. Har, 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 har. The bandhas automatically squeeze every time you're saying har, 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 har. One more minute. Har, 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 harder, 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 harder. Inhale hard. Suspend the breath unless you're on moon cycle. Holding the breath, we're going for 20-second hold, creating hypoxia in the brain, mental clarity, neuroplasticity, lighting up new neural pathways. And release. Take the left palm right in the lower abdomen, solar plexus. I've got the meaty part of my palm right on my navel, so it's a little bit off center. Then the middle of this palm comes right on top of my left wrist. So my right palm of my hand is over my left wrist. This is working the other side of the adrenals. I'm sitting up tall, periscope spine. My gaze, I'm looking right down at my mat. So I don't know what number I would call that. I'm just looking at the top of my mat. But my neck is long. Cervical spine is really in a healthy, elongated line. Long, deep breathing for 2 minutes. Practice breathing deeply to fully expand the diaphragm. You feel the diaphragm drop and expand into your hands, pushing it out. Then on the exhale, you can push in a little bit, help the diaphragm push the air out over through the throat and out the nose. All the breath through the nose. Use 50% of your diaphragm, at least 50% of it. I think you've all watched My Octopus Teacher. Think how much that free diver, Craig, how much of his diaphragm he had to use to free dive. In 48-degree water, swimming, holding his breath, holding a camera. Training his mind as carbon dioxide built in his body, training his mind that he didn't have to breathe. Okay, big inhale. Hold the breath, another 20-second hold. Squeeze the bandhas. Suspending the breath 20 seconds. Carbon dioxide is building. That's what tells the brain you want to breathe or you have to breathe. But we know the brain can be trained to go beyond that message. And release. Come onto your seat. We're going into, might need to shake the legs out. We've been sitting in easy pose a long time. I'm coming into Paschimottanasana in Sanskrit. Flexing the feet back, so dorsiflexion, point the toes forward, plantar flexion, dorsiflexion, plantar flexion. We can do the same thing with our hands, so similar to our feet, dorsiflexion, plantar flexion, dorsiflexion, plantar flexion. The phalanges, toes, and fingers are all called phalanges. I think same amount of bones, 26 bones in the hand. I think there are 26 in the feet. Very similar, I suppose, when we used to be quadrupeds. Okay, I'm going to reach forward and grab my big toes. Peace sign fingers around the toe. My thumbs are in the nail bed of my big toes. I'm just stretching out my hamstrings here, feeling my lower lumbar spine. So that's kind of your full extension. Now lift the hands up. Mudra is fists with hitchhiking fingers. My arms are parallel to the floor, and I'm like a machine. My feet are in dorsiflexion. I'm just bending forward. Inhaling forward, exhaling back. Try to go as far back as you can. That's comfortable. Inhaling forward, exhaling back. This is the posture for 2 minutes. It's almost like you're on that rowing machine at the gym. So we can do these kind of exercises. We don't have to have a machine. This would be good to do in your hotel room. The cue is to inhale forward, exhale back. But it feels better for me to inhale back, exhale forward, because my diaphragm is decreasing in size as I come forward. So it seems like it would make sense to exhale here. As I go back, the diaphragm is opening up so I can get more air in, right, for the inhale. 45 more seconds. You're working on core here too. Great place to feel that no man's land of the L5-4-3-2-1, lower 5 vertebrae. They're not supported by bones, no ribs to support the thoracic spine. The ribs support the thoracic 12 thoracic vertebrae, but the lumbar vertebrae are hanging out with just muscles, tendons, ligaments wrapped to the pelvis. Now, bring the hands. You can, I think it's maybe easier to do body drops with my feet straight forward. So my palm, you can experiment with your hands behind you, experiment with them beside you, maybe bring them forward even, depending on the length of your arms. And it's hurts less if you drop onto a blanket. I'm on a carpet and my mat. I need to study what the benefits of this pose are. It's not one of my favorites. The vertebrae really are absorbing the shocks here. I'm very conscious of that root chakra, the sacrum, tailbone, coccyx coming down here. Okay, lie back on your back. Draw the heels of your feet towards your buttocks. I'm going to grab the heels of my feet if I can. The back of my head is on the mat. We're just breathing into a bridge pose. So I'm inhaling, coming up, exhaling, coming down. Try to keep the knees in alignment with the ankles. I'm going to observe now. You're just inhaling up, exhaling down. You can really feel that lumbar spine, kidneys and adrenals. Every time you come down, do so mindfully. You can feel the thoracic spine, vertebrae by vertebrae coming down. Then the lumbar spine will make contact with the mat. You can turn the lumbar spine into kyphosis, meaning you're pushing it in the opposite direction. Normally it's in lordosis where we have that sway back. That's the healthy spine. So when you're bringing it flat to the mat, you're really extending it in the opposite direction. Everybody looks great. Inhaling, get the buttocks up as far as you can. That's comfortable. Wonderful exercise to feel the thoracic and lumbar spine, and the kidneys and adrenals are making contact with the mat, helping bring conscious awareness to the kidneys and the adrenals. Okay, just take the knees to one side, come around onto all fours. We're going to do a modified cat-cow. Also, a great way to experience the spine. So my hands are right under my shoulders, my knees are right under my hips. My inhale, I'm going to kick my legs straight back. I'm trying to kick it as high as I can, at the same time bringing my chin forward. So I'm maximizing the lordosis of the lumbar spine. That's my inhale. My exhale, I'm going to go in, try to round the spine, the thoracic spine, and its kyphosis, my knee to my forehead. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Set my clock here. We'll do this for 2 minutes. I'll observe now. Everybody looks great. Try to really extend that leg fully, point the toes. If you have room, try to really point the toes, extend the leg fully. Then on the exhale, you're rounding the spine as you bring the forehead to the knee. So you're working the cervical spine, you're working thoracic spine, you're working the lumbar. It's a very active pose. You're getting good breath work going. Be conscious of the neck as it comes back, that it doesn't jerk, that you're doing it mindfully. A few more seconds. And kick back, big inhale. So I'm kicking back, big inhale. Let's suspend the breath here. Wonderful place to feel the bandhas where they're suspended and extended in space. Exhale, take the knee to the forehead, really round that spine up in scaredy cat, kyphosis, and take the knee down, shake out the legs. Now we'll move for 2 minutes on the other side, kicking back with the left leg now. Looking forward, so I've got both lordosis in the cervical spine and the lumbar, then moving into the kyphosis of the thoracic spine. Big inhales, big exhales. Everybody looks great. This is very active pose. Make it active. There's only 2 other poses left in the Kriya. So you could treat this, I guess, as your peak pose. This is not a particularly difficult Kriya today. Really breathe into it. 1 more minute. Make this next minute really mindful of your spine. When your chin comes to your sternum, be conscious of those 7 vertical vertebrae in the cervical spine at the neck. When you move into the cat with the knee coming to the forehead, feel those 12 thoracic vertebrae attached to each one attached to a rib. When you're kicking back, you can feel the lordosis of the lower lumbar spine, those 5 vertebrae at the lumbar. I'm convinced the more we feel our backs and understand how we're built, the less prone we are to injury as we age. Because you understand how you're built. Okay, let's kick back, big inhale. I've got my chin forward. I'm suspending the breath, 20 seconds. And exhale, take the knee to the forehead, round that spine 1 more time. Then you come onto your knees. I bring my elbows, if I can, right down in front of my knees, and I'm in prayer position. My hands right in front of me. Again, I'm like a little machine here. I'm going to inhale forward. I'm looking straight down at my hands, exhaling back. Two minutes. It says to keep the chin up. So you're keeping that a little more lordosis in the cervical spine, which is how it's built. It's convex where it's coming into the midline. So as I'm coming forward, my chin is forward. Everybody looks great. And now come around onto your back. Last exercise before Shavasana, and then we'll do some alternate nostril breath. We're doing these spinal rolls. So I'm trying to hold my knees. I'm trying to bring my forehead to my knee, and then I begin to roll. Can roll all the way onto the back, to the back of the head. Do it mindfully, you all are. These are some notes about the pressure points in the back. There are hundreds of points on the back, especially up and down the spine. Opening up the muscles along the spine creates a healthy circulation of blood and nutrients. This fresh flow of blood feeds the muscles, bones, and connective tissues, as well as the neurological system. Where there is blood, there is chi, life, force, energy. Where there is chi, there is life. So breathe into these spinal rolls. Good job, very mindful. Gravity, the weight of your body is giving your spine just the amount of pressure that it needs. I doubt a massage therapist could really do what this is doing, because the amount of weight on the spine is just what your body needs. Now roll out long, and you'll go right into your Shavasana. Hands at your side, palms up to the ceiling. The most important pose. You're going to get 8 minutes today. Try to lie perfectly still. Sometimes this can be challenging. We want to check a device, or our mind moves into the to-do list of what is coming yet today. So just try to let go. Your autonomic nervous system will breathe for you. You don't even have to think about that. I'll bring you back with the bell. A reading from the Modern Elder Academy, The Alchemy of Age. It is now early November 2020, and has been a little more than 2 weeks since the passing of my 88-year-old father, Joseph Cardinal. It was both sad to see my father pass away, as well as a reminder that each of us will one day shrug off these mortal coils. No matter your religious belief or spiritual belief, we all viscerally understand that each of us has a start date as well as an end date on this little blue rock. But neither of those dates matter. It is the hyphen in between those dates that matters. As I evolve into my own elderhood and hopefully reach for the brass ring of becoming a modern elder, I think more about that hyphen, more about how age allows us to lengthen that hyphen, to thicken that hyphen with experiences and stories about our lives, to deepen the color of that hyphen with the thrilling and unexpected twists and turns of a life well lived. That's the alchemy of age. Age is not something to be afraid of. Yes, we all will have to manage our physicality, to stay healthy for as long as possible. And as my beloved says, to quote, live long and die short. That's what age allows you to do. It allows you to expand on the live long part. That's how the alchemy of age lets you change your point of view from age being something to avoid to age being something that allows you to relish the lengthening, thickening, and deepening of your own hyphen. Knowing that we are all finite has always been a strong driver of my thirst for a life worth seeing in pictures on my last day. In the past, the Stoic phrase, memento mori, essentially translating to, remember thou art mortal, used to frighten me. I used to wonder, why would anyone have that phrase as a guiding light? But now, as I am firmly in midlife, I truly understand. I understand that you must go through an alchemical transformation to see age as wisdom, age as hyphen, age as the sweetness of life. Then it is clear that aging no longer is alarming, but rather a blossoming of a life well lived. Om Guru Vishnu, Om Guru Deva Maheshwara, Om Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. The translation of the Sanskrit. To the teacher that is translation, to the teacher that is life, to the teacher that is true, stands beside us, to that teacher deep, deep within myself. Begin to breathe together, inhaling through the nose. Open the mouth, make an audible sigh. Ah. Talk to your parasympathetic nervous system. Inhale again. Through the nose, open the mouth. Ah. One more time, inhale through the nose. Ah. Point the toes. Take the arms over the head. Begin to make wrist turns and ankle turns and move the phalanges, move the fingers around, all 20 of them. Then take the right hand, grab the left wrist and pull that left arm long above your head. Such a great twist and pull in the shoulder. Then take the left hand, grab the right wrist and pull it as well, pointing the toes. Then draw the knees towards the forehead towards the knees. You're compressing the spine. Then with the knees drawn in almost in a fetal position, you could roll the knees to the side, left side, take the right shoulders and face to the left, the opposite side. So you're getting this wonderful spinal twist in a fetal position. Make sure you do both sides. Then with the knees drawn in closely, I would go into a Supta Baddha Konasana where you're just drawing the soles of the feet all the way up to the pelvis. The hips just fall open. You can take the arms over the head. Maybe do that pull again where you pull the left, take the right hand, grab the left wrist, pull that arm long, stretching out the shoulder. Make sure you do the opposite arm. Taking the left hand, pulling the right wrist. Getting that sense of how that shoulder blade connects with the scapula and the clavicle, the collarbone, and the shoulder blades coming into the tip of the humerus bone, that big arm bone at the shoulder. You could go into a happy baby now. I see Pablo and Maria in there dueling happy babies. That's one happy married couple and they're happy babies together. Melanie's got her legs spread wide because her hamstrings have released, so her legs are long. The arm bone mirroring the leg bone. Do any last minute stretches, then we'll come back up to a seated position for our alternate nostril breath, Nadi Shodhana. I love, goodbye, Margaret. Nice to have you with us. You got your nice little Shavasana in. I love this alternate nostril breath for mental clarity. So you can sit in easy pose or thunderbolt pose, Vajrasana, whichever one feels right for you. Let's begin with taking the right hand. The left hand is in Gyan Mudra, thumb, index finger touching, just resting on my left knee. My right thumb comes up to my left, closing off my right nostril, second, third, fourth finger on my forehead. I begin to inhale and exhale only through the left side, closing off the right. Begin. Spine is long. Concentrate on making the inhale as the same length as the exhale. Takes a little more effort to control the breath, slowly releasing the breath so the exhale can be as long as the inhale. You could do a mental count. Maybe your inhale is 5 seconds long. Can you make the exhale 5 seconds? You're learning how to control the diaphragm like a singer or a trumpet player, slowly letting the air out so they can play or sing long phrases of music. You're using the muscles in your diaphragm. If this side is closed, the breath is harder through this side right now, then it takes a little more effort. It's like you're having to breathe through some kind of closed gate. Okay, big inhale to the left side. Hold the breath. Unless you're on moon cycle, then long, deep breathing. Keep holding the breath. We'll go for a 20-second hold. And release. Take the right hand down in Gyan Mudra, thumb, index finger. Take the left thumb, close off the left nostril. Now 2 minutes of just breathing through the right side. One side will be more open generally than another. The brain, every 20 to 30 minutes, changes the dominant side of the breath work. So in this Nadi Shodhana pranayama, you're doing a manual override. So you could feel an energy or emotional shift. Concentrate on that exhale being the same length of time as the inhale. Then once you've mastered that, you might try to do a 50% longer exhale. If it's a 4-second inhale, strive for a 6-second exhale. Thirty more seconds on this side. Big inhale through the right side. And suspend the breath 20 seconds. And release. Take the hand down. Breathe luxuriously through both sides. Both sides may have opened up, or one side may be more dominant or the other, or sometimes I don't feel any change. Now we'll do alternate nostrils. So close off the right, second and third, fourth finger on the forehead, but you're going to use that dangling right ring finger to close off your left in a moment. So close off the right. 2 minutes, big inhale through the left. Close off the left with that right ring finger. Exhale through the right. Close off the right. Inhale through the left. Close off the left. Exhale through the right. You're on your own now. Another minute, 30 seconds. Inhaling through the left. Exhaling through the right. Can you make the inhale the same length as the exhale?
30 more seconds. Measure your breath. Learn to control your diaphragm. Those inhales can be so deep where you're just filling the lobes of the lungs with every available space with oxygen, with prana.
And take the hand down. Breathe luxuriously through both nostrils, just one remaining side, then we'll do our closing song. So now let's close off the left nostril with the left thumb. Second, third, fourth finger on the brow. The ring finger is waiting to close. So let's begin. Inhale through the right. Close off the right, exhale left. Close off the left, inhale right. Close off the right, exhale left. That's your pattern. This is great for quieting the mind because the mind really has something to do here to keep track of this. Again, strive for the exhale to be the same length of time as the inhale. Less than a minute. Take the hand down. Gyam Mudra, both hands. Sitting up tall, just breathe through both nostrils. Do you have a sense of more mental clarity? Increased intuition, that intuitive gate is open. We're more available to hear the messages. It's always communicating, we just don't always hear it. Let's bring our hands to prayer position. Thank you, Mimi. Thank you, Rodney. Thank you, Medea. Thank you, Pablo. Thank you, Melanie. Thank you, Susan Alexander. Thank you, Margaret, who had to leave a little early. Close with the longtime son, our prayer of protection, that we're living in love. We're always guided by a higher intelligence, creative, divine intelligence, that light, that highest and best self. Let's sing together. May the longtime sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on, guide your way on, guide your way on. Satnam, Satnam, Satnam. We bow to each other and we say Satnam.